Hi everybody, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So tonight I am doing another painting on my wooden board. Probably should have... Let me just move these and I can show you what I've got. So it's a wooden art board. So a little bit wet underneath. So the whole thing is wood. I have sealed it with a sealing paint, which is BIN from, I can't pronounce the name, Zenziger or something. So I do 2 coats in a sealer, and I do that over the whole thing, front, back, sides, every corner and crevice. So there's nowhere where moisture can get into it. It shouldn't warp because it has this backing frame. But I still do it just in case. So prevention is always better than cure with something like that. So it shouldn't warp. But I completely coat all of it. And then I did 2 coats in a gesso on the front and the sides only. Don't bother about the back. So that is what I've done so far to prepare it. Now I'm doing a pearl pour dirty pour, which is virtually just my metallic paints mixed with a base paint. So what happens is the metallics come up in their own fashion, form, pattern through the base coat and just kind of give really cool effects. I've done this quite a few times with different colors, different techniques, but I haven't done one on my wood panel. So the reason I'm doing these wood panels is because I believe it would be easier for me to resin coat them. Even though I've never actually resined a normal canvas, I just believe it would be easier on this because it's solid and it won't sag. But in saying that, I'm going to have to let these cure for a while before I even get to resin them. But I like them. They feel quite good. Should be easy to use. So that's my plan. So what I have for tonight, we'll talk about the base first. My base coat is Marte paint, and it is phthalo blue. I need my bit of paper. Is this the one? I'm trying to find where I wrote down all the measurements. Yes, this is it. So it's phthalo blue, 65 grams paint. And then I've added 5 grams black just to darken up and make it a little bit more richer, deep colour. So that works out to be 70 grams paint in total. Then I've used 140 grams floetrol, Australian floetrol, and then 21 grams water. So that gives me a slightly thinner consistency than normal by adding that little bit of water. But I need this to be a little bit thinner than the metallic colors or the pearl colors. Now, because it's on a wooden board and it has a very harsh corner compared to a canvas which is a little bit rounded, I have painted the sides and the edge just so if there's a little bit of separation of the paint on that very edge, it's not going to show because it's already coated. So that is the base. Now I have my extreme sheen colors in the lavender frost. I try to pick light colors this time because the base is quite deep. I thought I'd do light colors. So lavender frost, aquamarine, sky blue topaz, and silver. And these are all 8 grams paint and 8 grams Australian floetrol. So that is virtually all I've got for paint whites. Now, I am going to get another cup. Which cup? I could probably just use it. Sorry for the rattling noise. I could probably use a cup this size because most of this won't end up going in there. So what I need to do with this is about 1/3, always give it a stir before you pour. About 1/3 of this is going to go in here. That's probably about it. Make sure there's no drips. There we go. So there's not a lot. Could even be about 1/4. So you don't need a lot. And then from this, we want to add these metallics. So again, always give everything. So I painted this about half an hour. I mixed the paints probably about 45 minutes ago and painted this about half an hour ago. It's very cold. It's winter, so it's taking a bit longer to dry, but that's okay. So I want to pour in half of this lavender frost. There we go. Just as a bit of a dirty pour there. You can see it smashing down. Now you want to do it from a height so it smashes down into the paint. Now next to that, I might go the blue next to that. So we're going to pour half of this from that height. And if you pour a little bit over half, a little bit under half, it doesn't matter. That was a little bit over half. And that's smacked down through the lavender, through the blue, and it's doing its thing down there. Now we're going to go the aquamarine, which would probably be one of my favourite colours out of the extreme sheens. Let that smash down. And again, that smashed down into those colours as well. All of these are going to react and kind of create different cells and different reactions. They're more like boulders than cells when I do it this way, but you'll see it as I go. Now, the silver. Now, the silver felt thicker, but that should be fine. So now that's done. Now we want to go the second cup of, well, the second half of the lavender frost. So again, hold it up high, smash it down into it. Then once it trickles, it's just going to sit on top. Can't do much about that because there's no extra weight through it. That doesn't matter. Adds to some of the effects. Now I'm just trying to get as much out of my cup as possible. I know it sometimes is frustrating watching this part, but if you see the whole process, then you know how to do it yourself. So see how that sat more on top instead of smashing down? Because there's just not enough weight for it to smash through. But that's what always happens. That's why I do half and a half. So that the bottom half is definitely right down. Now we just continue with these colours. Hold it up high, let it smash down as much as it can. Now it's sitting on top. If you want to pour all of these in just one go and not do half and half, they'll be fine. You just got to do what is good for you. Sometimes it's your own style or whatever. Okay. Alright, now aquamarine. Smash down. Okay. Now it's trickling or dripping. And if you accidentally make your metallic colours thinner than this mixture, just make your base a little bit thinner than that as well. So, because you don't want the base to be too thick, otherwise these can't push through too easily. Now we've got our silver to go. Smashing down. Okay. So now we're just going to set that aside. Now normally when I do this, I would put this on, use my palette knife and go over the top and the sides. But because it's a hard surface, I don't want to scrape going across. So I'm just going to pour this on. And now I'm just going to tilt it a little bit just to cover most of the canvas or artboard. We just need the metallic paint to roll over instead of rolling over itself. We want it to glide across the board. So by having a base coat there, it kind of helps it. I'm not trying to go over the edge, I'm just trying to get the paint close enough. It wants to go over. Alright, let's just bring the weight of the paint back to the middle. So, now, from here, with this, we need this to be a dirty pour. So you need to pour it from a height where it goes down and the other paint smashes into it and it keeps burying and burying the paint as it goes. So you can see the metallics sitting on top there. They will all get buried when we do this. Paper cup's a little bit easier because you can make more of a spout, but this won't be too bad. So pour. Now this bit that comes out the cup last won't create pearls, it will just sit on top if there's any metallic there. So you can either stop it before it does it or make a pattern. I've just got a little, not much of a pattern there. So can you see how we got some pearls coming up already? Now this is full of bubbles because we've done a dirty pour into the cup and then a dirty pour out of the cup onto the board. So it's full and full of hundreds and hundreds of bubbles. So I get my blowtorch. You can use whatever you use to get rid of bubbles. And don't have to go too close, I'm going to go over the base as well because that's full of bubbles too. Don't know if you guys can see the bubbles popping, but for me I can just see them popping everywhere. It always happens when you do a dirty pour. I'm not actually getting close and I'm not sitting at any spot for very long. It's constantly moving. I can't see more bubbles yet. So put that somewhere where it's not going to burn anything because that is really hot. Now, this paint is spreading out. I don't want it to go over this edge yet, so I'm just going to tilt it tiniest little bit. Just spreading that weight out a little bit so it doesn't end up going over this edge. Not yet. So the longer this is left before we start actually tilting it over the edges, the more pearls will come up. Or if pearls, effects, whatever we want to call them, it's the metallic coming up and pushing through. See how before there was only a few, when now it's pushing its way through, and they're creating and they're growing. The more that you get up now, they will stay different. They will kind of be different shaped to the ones that come up later on by the paint being stretched over itself. The ones that come up after by being stretched over themselves are like a normal pearl pour. When these ones come up and give you really cool, quite different effects. So what I'm doing for the moment is just leaving this to settle. So I'm going to pause it for a couple of minutes, and then I will come back, and I'll also just watch that it's not going over any of the edges yet. So it won't be too long. Okay, we're back. Now, the paint went over this corner, which is not what I really wanted it to do just yet. But because now that that's gone over, that part there will always stick. It's kind of like it doesn't want to let go now that it's gone over that corner. So what we've got to do now, we want to stretch this. So I usually at first take my time, but I will speed it up with my tilting as I go. I'm going to this top, well, it's my top corner, but it's the bottom corner on video. Now it's moving. So we're gliding across the blue paint underneath. It's going over that edge. Kind of need it to get to the corner. So we're going to have to go a little bit quicker here. Okay, there we go. Now, as you can see, I just made that metallic touch that corner. So now that's going to stick. Now we want to come back to the middle again before I go back this way. So see at the top there, where all those metallics have touched, that's where they stick and they stretch out from. Alright, now over. Okay. Did lose a bit of the metallic that time. We will get more. See, not a lot. There was a big gap in the middle where this big blue is. I don't always get that. So, hoping more will come up now that it's getting stretched. So now I am trying to get it over to the side and then go up to get to that corner. Up and over. Bring that back. And this is the first time I've done it on the wooden board. Now we're coming back down to this last corner. Okay. Now bringing it back. Now once I got the paint back off that edge, I'm just going to quickly check my sides and my corners that they are covered. Tiny little bit in that corner. I think this corner isn't completely covered either. There There we go. How about this last one? Alright, so that's covered now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch my artwork while I move this around a bit. So see how I'm sliding it up to that corner, but not going too far. Then I'm going to come back. Now watch your whole image, because it changes as you do this. If it looks like you're stretching it too much, stop. I'm just trying to create friction between the layers. Because if I can get some more friction happening, see how I'm getting some pearls coming up? Like this one in there, some up happening over here. That's caused by the friction of the paints rubbing. So by maneuvering the paint back and forth, the friction kind of makes cells want to appear. They will sometimes appear on their own anyway, but this can help them along. But if you don't watch your whole artwork, you can really push it out of shape. So, best way to describe it is, see that larger cell in the middle, up the top there? The bottom of the cell doesn't move, but the edges do. So watch when I move it. See how it's stuck there, but the stuff around it moves, but it doesn't want to move. You can force it by over tilting, but then it will go really badly out of shape. And that's what happens with a lot of these. It's kind of like the paint that's come up from the bottom, it's kind of still stuck to the bottom as well. So it looks like I may have quite a large gap in the center of where it's just going to be dark, but that actually isn't a bad thing. So I'm going to stop there, I think. Make sure I've got, so when I do artworks on these artboards, I don't put pegs or pins underneath to hold it up. I have to put cups underneath it. So I'm going to just get my finger and run underneath the bottom edge. Just to grab off those excess strips, because they will pull the paint away from the board. You don't move your fingers over the canvas. It will drip, and the drip will be noticeable. It won't look the same as the other stuff. So I'm going to take my gloves off. And if you've got stuff that you want to put paint on, like little things, you can scrape up some of this metallic that's come off, that you've tilted off with a palette knife, and kind of like place it on things, kind of like a transfer. It looks really cool, but I haven't got anything with me right now, so I'm not going to do that, but I often do. Get rid of my gloves. Now I am going to torch. This last torching is definitely not necessary, because sometimes it can make little colours. It's like, I'm going to call it pitting, but I don't really know if that's the right term. What will happen is it will pop a bubble, it will show the colour from underneath. So it can change the look of it a little bit, but I want to get rid of the bubbles. that's it for me. Now, see how I'm getting like pearls come up within the metallic color? Like see here, I've got a pearl coming up underneath from the other pearl colors. So that's where you got ones coming up from underneath, and they kind of reacting with other things, making patterns and shapes and effects then in their own way. The stuff that came up originally, like this over here, that was what came up before I started tilting. When I have done these, the more square the canvas is, the easier it is. The more you get elongated canvases, like this isn't too bad, but I've tried doing some more longer than this, and they're more difficult to do. So just bear that in mind when you are doing these. That the canvas shape will actually make this easier or harder to do. So now all I've got to do is just wait and see. More of these little pearls can come up. These effects will continue to swell and change and kind of engulf this center part. But from what I can see right now, and I know the behavior of this paint, I am going to have a blue center. Whether it's that big or that big, there will be a solid blue in the center at some point. But that's okay, because it's going to give it kind of a cave look, where you've got the colors kind of swarming down onto this like negative space area, which is negative blue space really. But this is cool. I'm really liking it. So my best bet is to probably pause this again and let it settle for maybe 10 to 15 minutes and then come back and see what has actually happened. But virtually everywhere apart from this dark blue here, all of this is all metallic or shimmery, the whole lot. In the right light, it will look better, and when it's dried, it will look better. And when I resin this, because that's why I did it on this artboard, then it will look even better again. So this is my plan. So I'm going to pause, come back soon and see what has changed, and then bring you down for a close-up. All right, so I'll be back soon. Okay, we're back. So it's been probably 10 minutes, and as you can see, this center has closed in more and more pearls have come up, mostly in the silver tone. So I can see a bunch of little ones come up through here, across there. They just pop up in their own little way, do their own little thing. As they pop up, they push the things, the paint aside, and these other ones grow, they push the paint aside, and it kind of creates this cool effect. So ultimately you get mostly metallic painting with, I don't always get a big hole in the center. Sometimes it's different. Each time I do it, it's quite different. But you get these awesome like cracks. See where the pearls have touched each other and pushed the base paint together and made these dark like fissures. Well, they look like fissures, but they're still level. Where it kind of makes them more defined and shows, but like here, these pearls have all pushed together and kind of separated by a tiny little slither of the dark color, which gives these really cool patterns and effects. So ultimately, I like it. I'm really pleased. It will look different when it's dried, mostly because it will be more shimmery. So the metallics will just have more of that shine to them, where you can actually see the metallic colors better. And then when it resined, it will enhance it again. But ultimately, I'm quite pleased. Not a lot of the purple. You can see it running through here and patches over here and a little bit there. This side here is mostly blue and silver, but then there is purple running through here. So you kind of just get different effects all over the place, and depending on which order you pour these metallics into the base cup, whether you pour them all at once or do what I did and do half and half, you'll get kind of different effects every time, which is the fun part about it. You don't always know what you're going to get. So I'm going to bring you down for a close-up. And there we go. in real life it's slightly more brighter than what it is, or lighter. I think these colors are coming out a little bit dark in the camera, but look how cool they are. Really different effects. And see how you get like those metallic colors with the darker centers, like the lines where it's pushed them together. You can see the purple's coming into effect over here. More pearls. Really cool. This is one of my favourite style of paintings. I've got a few favourites, but these ones I just really enjoy. So there we go. Sorry about the ring lights. Try and stop that, but yeah. These are fun, they're awesome, and I will show you, I try not to upload my videos now until it's dry, so then I can actually get a short video of it when it is dry. So we'll see how that looks then, but I hope you guys had fun watching this, and we'll see you soon for another pour. But yeah, stay tuned for the end result, and like normal, comment, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. Well, for you guys, we'll be back soon with the dried results. Okay, bye. Alright, so here's the finished artwork. It's dried. It has seemed to have moved a little bit down towards this section with the base, but overall I'm really pleased with it. The effects have come up quite good, and it's dried really well. You can barely see the wood grain in it. I actually think you can see canvas grain more than you can on these wood panels. But overall, really pleased. Alright, thanks everyone. Like, comment, share and subscribe if you have not already. Alright, bye.